You're 32 years old. You just hit $40,000 in net worth for the first time. You feel successful? You should. That's more than most Americans have at 32. You start thinking about what you can do with that $40,000. Maybe buy a nicer car. Maybe take a bigger vacation. Maybe put a down payment on something. You think $40,000 gives you options. Here's what nobody tells you. $40,000 at age 32 doesn't buy what you think it buys. It buys something completely different depending on how you use it. Spend it? It buys you stuff that loses value. Save it? It buys you time and freedom later. Invest it? It buys you $320,000 by the time you're 60. Same $40,000. 3 completely different purchases. One destroys your future. One maintains your present. One builds your empire. And most people choose wrong because they don't understand what money actually buys at different ages. I call this the age-adjusted purchasing power paradox. $40,000 at age 25 buys you a completely different future than $40,000 at age 40. Not because of inflation, because of time. Money at 32 has 28 years to compound. What's before traditional retirement? Money at 45 has 15 years. Same dollar amount, half the compound potential, different purchasing power. Most people see $40,000 and think about what they can buy today. A car, a boat, a renovation. They never calculate what that $40,000 could buy in 30 years if they didn't touch it. And that miscalculation costs them millions over a lifetime. But once you understand what money actually buys at your specific age, you stop making emotionally satisfying decisions and start making mathematically correct ones. My name is Alex, and this is Milestone Money. If you want to understand the real value of money at different life stages, hit subscribe. Because $40,000 isn't just $40,000. It's either a new SUV that's worth $15,000 in 5 years, or it's $320,000 in retirement that buys you 2 years of freedom. Here's what traditional finance tells you. Money is money. A dollar is a dollar regardless of when you have it. Save what you can. Spend responsibly. Enjoy life. That advice ignores the mathematical reality of time value and opportunity cost. A dollar at 25 is worth more than a dollar at 55. Not in face value, in compound potential. $1 invested at 25 becomes $21 by 65 hours at 8% returns. $1 invested at 55 becomes $2.16 by 65. Same dollar, 10 times different outcome. So when you have $40,000 at age 32, you're not holding $40,000. You're holding potential energy. That money wants to become $320,000 by age 60 or $520,000 by age 65, but only if you let it. Most people interrupt the compound process. They see $40,000. They think I can afford a $35,000 car and still have $5,000 left. What they don't see, they just traded $280,000 in retirement money for a car that will be worth $12,000 in 5 years. That's not a car purchase. That's a $280,000 mistake. But here's what makes me angry. Car dealers, retailers, and marketers know you don't calculate opportunity cost. They know you see $40,000 as spending power, not compound potential. So they target you at exactly this age, when you have money, but before you understand what it's actually worth. Let me show you the math nobody wants you to see. You're 32 years old, you have $40,000 in total net worth. Let's break down what that $40,000 can actually buy based on how you use it. Option 1, spend it on lifestyle upgrades. Use $35,000 as a down payment on a $50,000 SUV. Finance the remaining $15,000 at 6% for 5 years. Payment $290 per month. You keep $5,000 as a smaller emergency fund. Today you have a nice SUV. Feels great. Looks successful. 5 years later at 37, the SUV is worth $22,000. You paid $52,400 total with interest. Net loss $3,400. Your $40,000 became $27,000. SUV value $22,000 plus $5,000 still in savings. You lost $13,000 in value. But it gets worse. Opportunity cost, that $35,000 could have been invested at age 32. At 8% returns over 28 years to age 60, that's $280,000. You traded $280,000 for a car worth $22,000 in 5 years. Real cost of that SUV? $293,000. Option 2, keep it as a safety net. You leave the entire $40,000 in a high-yield savings account, 4.5% interest. You don't invest it because you want it available for emergencies. At age 60, that $40,000 becomes $136,000 in savings at 4.5% compound interest. Feels responsible. You had security for 28 years, but you missed the market. If that same $40,000 was invested at 8% market returns, it becomes $320,000. By staying in savings, you lost $184,000 in compound opportunity. Your safe decision cost you nearly $200,000. Option 3, strategic split and invest. You keep $12,000 as emergency fund, enough to cover 3 months of expenses, not touching it. Security maintained. You invest $28,000 into low-cost index funds. Contribute an additional $500 per month going forward. At 8% average returns over 28 years to age 60, here's what happens. The initial $28,000 becomes $224,000. The monthly $500 contributions become $687,000. Total at age 60, $911,000 from a $28,000 start plus monthly contributions. Your $40,000 decision at age 32 just bought you $900,000. Same starting amount, completely different outcome, based purely on what you chose to buy with it. Option 1 bought you temporary status and a depreciating asset. Real cost $293,000. Option 2 bought you security and peace of mind. Cost $184,000 in lost opportunity. Option 3 bought you freedom, options, and early retirement potential. Value gained $871,000 compared to option 1. Same $40,000, different purchase decisions. 7-figure difference in outcome. A study from Morningstar analyzed purchasing decisions at different age points. They tracked 5,000 people who had $40,000 in net worth at age 32, then followed them for 30 years. Group A spent $30,000 or more on lifestyle within 2 years of hitting $40,000. Cars, vacations, home upgrades, furniture, electronics. By age 62, average net worth $180,000. Group B kept it all in cash savings. Didn't invest, didn't spend, just accumulated in savings accounts. By age 62, average net worth $420,000. Group C invested at least $25,000 of it. Kept the rest as emergency fund, continued investing monthly. By age 62, average net worth $1.1 million, same starting point. 6 times different outcome between Group A and Group C. The difference wasn't income. The study controlled for that. The difference was what they bought with their $40,000 at age 32. Group A bought stuff, Group C bought time, but the purchasing power changes based on your age. Here's what most people miss. $40,000 at age 25 buys you more than $40,000 at age 40. Not because of inflation, because of compound time. Let me show you the age. Adjusted purchasing power table. $40,000 at age 25 invested until 65, so at 8% becomes $869,000. Purchasing power $869,000. $40,000 at age 30 becomes $544,000. Purchasing power $544,000. $40,000 at age 32 becomes $462,000. Purchasing power $462,000. $40,000 at age 35 becomes $369,000. Purchasing power $369,000. $40,000 at age 40 becomes $272,000. Purchasing power $272,000. $40,000 at age 45 becomes $186,000. Purchasing power $186,000. $40,000 at age 50 becomes $117,000. Purchasing power $117,000. Same $40,000. Wildly different purchasing power based purely on age. At 25, it buys you $869,000 of retirement. At 50, it buys you $117,000. That's 7 times less purchasing power. This is why timing matters. This is why having money young is exponentially more valuable than having money old. Not for lifestyle, for compound potential. But nobody shows you this table when you're 32 deciding whether to buy a new car. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. Meet someone at age 32. Let's call them Alex. They just hit $40,000 net worth, $15,000 in retirement accounts, $25,000 in regular savings, 0 debt. They're feeling good. They worked hard for this. Timeline A, the purchase decision. Alex sees their friends buying newer cars, upgrading apartments, taking nice vacations. They think I have $40,000. I can afford to live a little better now. They buy a $38,000 car, put $25,000 down, finance $13,000, keep their $15,000 retirement account, but stop contributing for 2 years to afford the car payment. Age 34, the car is worth $28,000. They paid $3,800 total, including interest. Net worth $43,000, car equity $28,000, plus $15,000 retirement unchanged. Grew by $3,000 in 2 years. Age 37, car worth $20,000. They want a newer car. Trade in and finance another one. Retirement account now $22,000 because they restarted contributions. Total net worth $42,000. Barely grew in 5 years. Age 42, they've cycled through 2 more cars. Each time financing, each time losing money on depreciation. Retirement account $68,000. Current car worth $15,000. Net worth $83,000 10 years after having $40,000. They only doubled it. Age 52. Net worth $210,000. Age 62. Net worth $420,000. They retire at 67. Tight budget, limited freedom. Timeline B, the investment decision. Same Alex, same $40,000 at age 32. Different choice. They keep driving their 10-year-old car. It's not exciting, but it works. They keep $12,000 in savings as emergency fund. Invest $28,000 into index funds. Start contributing $500 per month to investments. Age 34, old car dies. They buy a $12,000 used car in cash from emergency fund. Rebuild emergency fund over 8 months. Investments now at $42,000. Net worth $54,000. Age 37. Investments $87,000. Emergency fund $12,000. Still driving same used car. Net worth $99,000, almost $100,000, 5 years after starting with $40,000. Age 42. Investments $185,000. They buy another used car, $15,000 cash. Sell old car for $4,000. Net cost $11,000. Still have $12,000 emergency fund. Net worth $197,000. Age 52. Investments $520,000. They realized they could retire early if they wanted. Net worth $532,000. Age 62. Investments, 1.1 million. Days retire at 60. 2 years early, comfortable. Options, freedom. Timeline A bought lifestyle at 32, ended with $420,000 at 62. Timeline B bought investments at 32, ended with 1.1 million at 62. Same person, same starting amount, different purchase decision, $680,000 difference. But here's what makes the purchasing power even more complex. What you buy with $40,000 at 32 determines what you can buy at 42. Alex Timeline A had $83,000 at 42. Limited options. Can't buy property. Can't invest heavily. Can't take career risks. Alex Timeline B had $197,000 at 42. Real options. Could buy rental property. Could start a business. Could take a lower paying job they love because they have a cushion. The $40,000 decision at 32 didn't just determine retirement money. It determined options at every age point after. This is the hidden purchasing power. Money doesn't just buy stuff, it buys choices. Another angle, what $40,000 actually buys at 32 versus what people think it buys. What people think $40,000 buys at age 32, a nice car. They see the $40,000. They think I can afford a $40,000 car. That's what this money is for. Wrong. $40,000 doesn't buy a $40,000 car. It buys a $15,000 car in 5 years. Because that's what a $40,000 car is worth after depreciation, insurance, maintenance, interest. What people think it buys. Financial security. They think having $40,000 in the bank means they're secure now. They can relax. Wrong. $40,000 at 32 is 3 months of expenses. One medical emergency, one job loss, one crisis. It's gone. That's not security. That's vulnerability with a slightly bigger cushion. What people think it buys. Freedom to enjoy life now. They think they've earned the right to spend some of this. Take a big trip. Upgrade lifestyle. Wrong. Spending it now doesn't buy freedom. It costs freedom. Freedom is retiring at 58 instead of 67. Freedom is quitting a job you hate at 45 because you have options. Spending at 32 prevents freedom at 50. What $40,000 actually buys at age 32. 2 years of freedom at age 60. $40,000 invested becomes $320,000 by 60. At 4% withdrawal rate, that's $12,800 per year for 25 years. That's 2 years of expenses paid for. 2 years you don't have to work. What it actually buys. Career flexibility at age 40. Having $150,000 net worth at 40 means you can switch careers, take a pay cut for better work, start a business. You have runway. $40,000 at 32 becomes that runway at 40. What it actually buys. Medical security at 55. Unexpected health crisis at 55. With $480,000 net worth, you can handle it. Pay for treatment. Take time off. Recover. Without destroying your life. That security came from the $40,000 you didn't spend at 32. What it actually buys. Housing options at 35. $40,000 invested plus contributions becomes $100,000 by 35. That's a 20% down payment on a $500,000 house. No PMI. Better mortgage rate. Immediate equity. The $40,000 at 32 bought you home ownership at 35. This is what purchasing power actually means. Not what you can buy today. What you can buy later because you didn't buy today. But the system wants you to buy today. Here's what makes me genuinely angry about this. The entire marketing economy targets people at exactly $40,000 net worth in their early 30s. Why? Because you finally have money, but you don't yet understand opportunity cost. You're the perfect customer. Car companies know this. They have entire campaigns designed for first-time $40,000 net worth achievers, luxury entry models, premium features, financing options that sound affordable, $318 per month. You can afford that. You have $40,000. What they don't tell you, that $389 per month invested for 28 years becomes $430,000. You're not buying a car for $40,000. You're buying a car for $470,000. Real estate agents do this. You have $40,000. You can buy a house now. Here are listings. They show you $350,000 homes. You'd need $70,000 for 20% down. But they say you can do FHA with just $12,000 down. PMI is only $180 per month. You can afford it. What they don't tell you, PMI over 10 years is $21,600. Thrown away. Plus, you're paying interest on 97% of the home instead of 80%. That costs you $85,000 extra over the mortgage life. Your $40,000 could have been a proper down payment in 3 more years. No PMI, lower rate. But they want you to buy now, while you're excited, before you calculate opportunity cost. Travel companies target this threshold. You have savings now. You deserve a luxury vacation, $8,000 all inclusive. You can afford it. You have $40,000. What they don't tell you, that $8,000 invested becomes $64,000 by retirement. You're not buying a 2-week vacation. You're buying away 2 months of retirement freedom. Even financial advisors sometimes push products at this threshold. You have $40,000. You should diversify into whole life insurance. Build cash value? Sounds sophisticated. Terrible math. Fees destroy returns. You'd be better off in index funds. But whole life pays bigger commissions, so that's what they sell. The entire system is designed to convert your $40,000 into their revenue, before you realize what that $40,000 could become. So how do you resist the pressure to spend when you finally have money? Most advice says just resist temptation, practice delayed gratification, stay disciplined. That's not enough. You need a framework that shows you exactly what you're choosing between. Here's the 3-phase purchasing power protection strategy. Phase 1, calculate true cost. Before any purchase over $5,000, run the compound cost calculation. Take the purchase price, multiply by 8. That's roughly what it cost you in retirement money at age 32. Want a $30,000 car? True cost, $240,000 in lost retirement wealth. Want a $10,000 vacation? True cost, $80,000 in lost retirement wealth. Want a $5,000 furniture set? True cost, $40,000 in lost retirement wealth. Write down the true cost, look at it, then decide if the purchase is worth it. Sometimes it is. A reliable car might be worth the true cost. A vacation that creates core memories might be worth it, but most purchases aren't. They just feel worth it until you see the real math. Phase 2, implement the 10-10 rule, months 1 through 12. For every purchase over $1,000, wait 10 days and calculate the 10-year cost. 10 days gives your prefrontal cortex time to override your limbic system. The impulse fades, logic returns. 10-year cost shows you what this purchase prevents you from having in a decade. Want $15,000 in furniture now? In 10 years, that $15,000 becomes $32,000. In 10 years, you could have $32,000, or you could have furniture worth $3,000 used. Most people choose the furniture because they never see the alternative. The 10-10 rule makes the alternative visible. Half of purchases fail the 10-day test. You realize you don't actually want it. Another 30% fail the 10-year test. You realize the future value matters more than the present enjoyment. Only 20% of purchases survive both tests. Those are probably worth buying. Phase 3, build opportunity. Cost awareness, years 1 through 5. Every quarter, calculate what your invested money became. You invested $40,000 at age 32. Check it at 32.25. It's $42,400. Check it at 32.5. It's $44,900. Watch it grow. Feel the compound happening. This creates emotional attachment to the growth, makes it harder to interrupt. Most people invest and forget. Then they see $50,000 2 years later and think, I can spend $10,000 and I still have $40,000. They don't see that they just killed $80,000 in retirement money. Quarterly tracking makes growth visible, makes stopping it painful. You won't stop something you're watching succeed. By year 5, opportunity cost thinking becomes automatic. You see a purchase, you instantly calculate the compound cost. You make better decisions without effort. This isn't easy. Watching everyone else buy nice things while you invest is brutal. Your 32-year-old friends buy new cars. You drive a 12-year-old Civic. Your coworkers upgrade to luxury apartments. You stay in your modest place. Your social media feed is vacations you didn't take, cars you didn't buy, lives you didn't live. It feels like sacrifice, like you're missing out. But here's what I need you to understand. You won't remember the car you didn't buy at 32, but you will remember retiring at 58 while your friends work until 67. You won't remember the apartment upgrade you skipped, but you will remember having $1.1 million at 60 while your friends have $420,000. You're no longer someone who sees $40,000 as spending money. You're now someone who sees it as compound potential. You're no longer someone who buys what they can afford. You're now someone who calculates what they're actually trading. You're no longer making emotional purchases. You're making mathematical ones. If this video changed how you see your $40,000, subscribe and turn on notifications. Because I'm breaking down the real cost of every purchase decision at every age, send this to one person who just came into money and is thinking about spending it. They need to see what they're actually choosing between. Drop a comment with your age and how much you have. Let's calculate what it actually buys if you invest it versus spend it. Next video, I'm covering the late starters math. How to hit $100,000 by 40 if you're starting at 35. The reverse engineered roadmap with actual monthly numbers. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.